that originated with my boss, my former city manager, Jorge Alcaute. This was his idea, and he had it set up a little different, but it's all about leadership and how we manage people. And he's a big movie buff, so he ties it into movies. And at our department head meetings, at the end of it, we would watch a movie that he had on the pyramid, and he ties it in at the end of the movie and explains the leadership principles in there, going with the blocks. And it does a good job of bringing the department heads together, and it does an excellent job in building that team mentality and also imparting his wisdom and his leadership principles into us, and setting a solid foundation for the department heads and the leadership team that are leading the city and organizations. And it's something that when he retired, that I wanted to do him honor and pay him homage, and put that, keep it here, and so I made my own, and some of the movies are very different, but the idea is the same behind it. And it's just something it's very special, because he gave me the opportunity to be a police chief at the age of 36, and I'm not sure anybody else would have taken that chance, but he saw value, and he did, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the tenets of leadership that he taught me and the other department heads, and I wanted to keep that going long after he was gone. So that's why you see that there.
Wow, that's amazing. It actually does paint an awesome picture of everything that is going on, and seems like something you look for in the police department and all that as well.
Sure.
In regards to community policing, what approach does your department take?
So with our department, community is everything. So if you notice when you were in the lobby, there's a big sign that says community first, and then there's a picture of the department, a picture of our leadership team. So within our organization, when I first started here, going on 2 years ago, we developed that department motto of community first, and our core values are integrity, professionalism, and community. So community is been imparted in every facet of our police department, and the leadership that I've selected to join me and to be here with the department, and the sergeants that we've picked that are on that leadership team, all have that basic, we've instilled that fundamental thought of community. We serve the community. That's why we exist, is because we have to serve and provide a community service to them. So with that being said, it makes sense that we put them first.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if we are engaged with our community, and we build those strong partnerships with our community, that we're going to have a better result as we try to fight the criminal element that seek to disrupt and destroy the quality of life that we work so hard to provide for our citizens. Because without that partnership, if they're out there, the community or the people that we serve, they're the ones seeing things. And if they need something, they need to be comfortable to call the people that are hired to serve them. And they're not going to do that if you don't have good police-community relations. So that's why community is very important to our department, and that's why we make sure that it's put into every facet of everything that we do.
Okay. I was noticing you were talking about that community first right there, and that's one of the first things I saw right when I came in. And I noticed you had honorary cadet captain there.
Yes.
Younger.
Brandon Alvarez, yes.
I also noticed that you started a Police Explorer program. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And how successful has that been?
The Police Explorer program has been very successful. Prior to the implementation of the Explorer program, the school, Alton Memorial Junior High, had the Alton Junior Officers that we were involved with. But we wanted to bring something that was our own, something that had complete police department oversight. And so we established the Police Explorer program. We named it Post 2105, and that's for in honor of the 21 individuals that lost their lives in the bus crash in 1989. And then the 5 is for Mile 5 Road, which has been a staple in the Alton community. Alton used to be known as Mia Cinco, so we wanted to make sure that our post reflected the history here in Alton. And so we did that. And so the Explorer program in and of itself is a great community program. I say that because the children are our future.
Yeah.
And if we provide them with the basic tenets of leadership, the principles, those are things that no matter what they go decide to do in life, whether it's criminal justice, whether it's being a district attorney, whether it's being a lawyer, whether it's wherever they go, whatever they decide to do, they're going to have a solid foundation and examples that they had from their child, from their, from junior high years going forward, that they learned with our department through solid examples from our professionals that work here at the police department. And so imparting that with them, it's building future leaders, it's building good stewards of the community, and giving them a foundation that they can take as they go out into the community and become good model citizens and into the workforce.
Yeah, that's actually great, having them start modeling early, teaching them to hopefully help future generations, and that is probably something that would impact the community as a whole in the future, would you say?
Absolutely, I think it has a long-standing impact on the community. In fact, a prime example of that is our director for the program. His name is Juan Cuba. He was, in his teenage years, he talks about how he had two different paths he could go down, the right road or the wrong road. He was kind of going in the wrong direction, but he joined the Palmview Explorer program. It brought him, it refocused him and repurposed him and provided him with those leadership things that we're talking about. And now he's running the Explorer program, which he's very passionate about because he's a proponent of it. And those are the success stories that we hope to hear. It's not just about taking the kids that are your A students that are high achievers. It's about taking the at-risk students and changing the trajectory of their lives and making that solid impact in them. And that's where the magic of those types of programs are, and we really believe wholeheartedly in that.
Yeah, that's some amazing stuff. As far as besides the Explorer program, what methods does the department use to try and communicate with the rest of the community, like Twitter, Facebook, or anything?
So we use social media platforms. That's the biggest reach that you can have in the community. We utilize Facebook, we utilize Twitter. Those are predominantly the two big social media feeds. We also use LinkedIn. And for the community to see, we got that big board out there that we'll put stuff. We have our city website, and we try to do a lot of outreach. Outside of that stuff, we're always out on the road trying to make contact with our community. Our officers, we tell them, if you see kids out in the park, stop with them. We have our bike patrol program, which is another initiative that we implemented so that our officers could have direct contact with the community. That way our parks in the summer get full. We deploy our bike patrol out there. They're engaging with the community. And that's a beautiful thing, is that they're able to interact with the community and get to know what's going on in the city. What are their needs? What can we help them with? What do they see? What do they see from our department, and where can we do better? That's how we get our information, is from that interaction, and so it's a real good thing.
And does the community seem to open up to the officers more in the department in general?
Absolutely. So I can tell you that when I first started, it seemed that there was a disconnect between the community and the police department, and I can proudly say that really doesn't exist anymore from my perspective and from the community's perspective. We hosted our first national night out, had about 1,200 people come out to that event, where we give back to school supplies and we engage with our community that way. Free haircuts, free school supplies, things of that nature. And this past year we had our second annual, and we had about 900 to 1,000, if not more. So it's those initiatives and coupled with all the other things that we've been talking about are really a testament to the hard work that the men and women of the department have done in getting out there into the community and reaching out to them and speaking with them and forging those partnerships that are going to go a long way as we continue to serve the community of Alton.
That's amazing. And that the community policing pretty much didn't exist prior to you coming into...
No, it did not. No, we brought that here. We brought that mindset, and it's not. And I'll tell you right now, it's not. I say this all the time. I can have all the ideas in the world I can have a philosophy, something that I want to impart for my organization, but without the buy-in of the hardworking men and women of this police department, none of it happens. So from my assistant chief to my 2 lieutenants to my sergeants and all the men that work at the department, their buy-in and their commitment to the idea and to the program and to the community-oriented philosophy are what have made this transition and the change in the department, because they bought in and they're the ones doing the heavy lifting and the hard work. So all the credit goes to the men and women of the department.
That's great. That's great. How has this impacted the crime within the city? Do you think it's had any impact?
So a couple of things there. So different trends to look at. So before I got here, there was 1 officer per shift on the road. We've increased the number of officers. There's 3 or 4 per shift at any given time. Remember I talked about how there was a disconnect between the community and the officers. So we did notice a lower call volume, lower crime on the onset, and that picked up a little bit. It actually picked up significantly. More crime reporting, more calls for service. They almost tripled from the time I got here to where we're at now. And so you could say, man, there's more crime, there's more activity, and look at that in a negative manner, but I don't. I look at it in a positive light, because now the community trusts us. Now the community's calling us. They feel confident in the resources and the services that we provide. So as we go forward, we're going to use the 2018 year as a baseline for future crime trends, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does.
Because we can't use what was there before, because there was that disconnect and that distrust in the police department. Now that we've gained the community's trust, we will use 18-19 as the baseline for future years and crime trends, and now that we're doing the reporting, the way it should be done.
And now that you've gained the trust of the community, you think it's crucial to keep that trust and try to improve on it as much as you can?
Absolutely. The community's trust is everything, because as I mentioned, you're trying to provide a service to them, you're trying to disrupt the criminal element that comes into the city, trying to disrupt and destroy quality of life. Without those solid partnerships with the community, there's gonna be crime, and we can't be everywhere at once. We need eyes and ears out there, and our community calling us to report these incidents, or how we are able to not only be proactive, but also be reactive to what the community is seeing, and to be reactive to their needs, and to be able to provide a quality and professional police service to them, and to be able to have them trust us to call us, and that we're going to go provide the services is everything. So it's incumbent upon us as we move forward to continue with these community-oriented initiatives, and to continue to realize that without the community, we're nothing. We're here to serve them. So we need to put them first at all times, and we need to provide them with the quality and professional police service, and we need to hold true to our core values of integrity, professionalism, and community, and we need to be cognizant that we are held to a high standard, higher standard than your average person. So if we understand that and we work hard to live up to those standards day in and day out, we are going to have no problem serving our community, and they are always going to be content with the service that we provide them.
That's awesome. It's amazing. A lot of changes that have taken place within the department. I also noticed that I know a few years back there was a lot of stealth units and stuff like that, and I've noticed you changed the graphics on the units to full mark units.
Yes.
Has that made any impact?
That has made a tremendous impact. The community, that is one of the first things that we did here, was change the uniforms and change the decals on the units, and I cannot tell you, we have received so much positive from the onset of positive comments from the community, that now we're more visible. Whereas before it was a stealth operation, we're trying to not be seen, and now we're saying, hey, we're putting the community first. We want the community to see us. We want them to know that we're out there. We want them to be able to distinguish a police car from your average vehicle and be able to wave us down if they need us and they're in need. And that's the whole idea about that, is for us to say, we're here and we're here to serve you, and we're not trying to be stealth in any way, and we're here to serve the community and deter crime.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's some significant changes so far. What resources do you have available to the department in order to carry out your community policing?
So everybody, we do our training with policeone.com online training, and we assign them a lot of community oriented training amongst other trainings that they have to do. So they receive training on the community oriented policing model. On top of that, we provide all the resources that they need. If we have an event that's going to be going on, we will purchase the stuff for them to take out into the community. Red Ribbon Week is this week, and we made some large purchases for them to be able to go out into the schools and be able to distribute literature and information to the community that way. Other resources, like I mentioned, the Bike Patrol program, those are kind of on a larger scale. The Crime Stoppers program is a big initiative that we started regarding the community-oriented approach in providing the community with an outlet to report crime anonymously. So those are just some of the resources that we have available to them.
Great. As far as it goes, could you provide any information or suggestions in regard to community policing that could potentially assist other agencies that are not utilizing community policing methods?
Really, the only advice that I would give to these agencies is to say this community is everything, the same thing that I've been talking about, and we need to remember that and not neglect that aspect of policing. We're here to catch criminals, we're here to make sure that our communities are safe, but in doing that, we need to understand as agency leaders that the community that we serve can be very good partners when it comes to helping us with that endeavor. And if we take a little bit of time to foster those positive relationships, that's going to pay dividends as you continue to progress through your initiatives.
Okay. I think that wraps it up. Is there anything else that I might have missed, or any other suggestions that you could give me?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think we touched on a little bit of everything, and there are a lot of agencies out there here in the Valley that are doing some great community-oriented things. Chief Torres from Edinburgh PD has been very involved in the community, and we've taken notice of that. I saw Chief Luengo from FAR PD distributing items at a football game, and this community orient. I think most of the police chiefs here in the Valley get it. I think that they're seeing it. I think that they understand the importance of community partnerships, and you'll see a lot of that activity down here. And for those that aren't, I would just say it doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of time and effort, and it'll pay dividends for your department and for your community.
Sounds great. Sounds like you're really making connections within your community, and hopefully it will continue.
Thank you very much.
It's your service. Appreciate everything.
Thank you. Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you very
by.
much.